It's time to open up your eyes. Open your eyes will make you wealthy and wise. You can watch it.
Good evening and welcome to the African Arts and Fashion Week in Washington, D.C. at the Embassy of Nigeria. I'm your host, Erica Collins. And what message would you like to give the youth who want to get involved?
Just the message that what I have to give to the youth that want to get involved in fashion is just simply follow your dream, follow your passion, and be the bird, be the butterfly, and just totally be free. And mothers and fathers, to encourage them to be who they are, because our Father gives all of us something. What He gives you, He may not give to me, but what He gave me is for me, okay? And I realize that I am my Father's favorite child in the whole wide world. I believe that. So I have to embrace that and just express, who we are, because if we say our Father and God does not make mistakes, how did He put this passion in my heart and it's a mistake? So it's all about following your dreams, whatever it may be.
You have followed your dreams. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm still trying to follow it.
I see an issue with there is no quality in the garments. People don't understand the fundamentals of putting a garment together. Even doing a basic seam, putting an interface inside these are, designer terms or whatnot. Absolutely. So when you go and you purchase this garment that you've seen on Facebook, seen on Instagram, and you actually look at it in real life, it's crap. And I say that in the most, that's not even the word I really want to use. And then they look at you like, no, you deserve to buy this because I put my hard work and sweat into this. But you're diminishing the African, the designer community. You're diminishing the value, because then people may assume, if they don't understand African fashion, they're going to assume the next fashion designer that they, get an African design skirt from is going to be crap.
Oh, it's not just African, honey.
Okay.
Black, white, Chinese. You got some people who will sew you a crooked shirt. I don't care what part of the world they come from, what color they are. I think that we really need to focus our energy on grabbing up the ones who are really good.
Exactly.
Who take all of their money, because I did, took all of my little red money.
Yep.
And got the best sewing machine. I don't know how to sew. And I said, I'm going to get the best equipment, and I'm going to attract the best tailor to work with me. And he's going to sit here in my house every day until I get evicted. And we're going to finish this collection. Because I got evicted. But it was okay. It worked. I knew that I did not want to do anything.
And that just goes to show mentorship and networking seems to be what's needed, not only to unite the youth with the older generations, but to unite designers as a whole. And in this particular forum, to unite our African American, African descent, anything Africa, to unite in one force and to help each other climb a ladder, if not create the ladder for us to climb.
Now, I know factor, and more primarily as it affects my generation right now, because there's a new term. I don't know if a lot of you are familiar with it, but it's not actually new, but it's been around for a while. But it's the Afropolitan, and the definition of an Afropolitan, if you're not familiar with it, it's an African who was either born in the United States and so basically the second generation, right? So I would be considered the second generation. You were born in the United States, raised in an African household, but you heavily identify with Western culture. So you have the identity of the two, or you can be, I was born back home, came to the United States, raised in the United States. So now you're identifying with two different cultures and learning how to not only embrace your African culture, speak your native language, eat your African food, and still adapt a healthy lifestyle, whether it's eating, still have the modern style of clothing, whether it's through your fashion, jewelry, or whatnot, but have the power to create your vision, whether you're an artist, a designer, a clothing designer, and learning how to intertwine the two, where you're building business here, but bringing those ideas back to your native land and continuing it. So it's not, people don't need to run away from their country to come to the United States and to chase this false American dream. Because like many, I believe it's a false dream, where you can build it here and take it back home and continue it, so people can have that, they can have the wealth back home. They can build the international trade that we're talking about, right? And trade between America.
Hi, I'm here with Elizabeth Vasquez, and she is in charge of a company called We Connect. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, thank you. It's a thrill to be here. And We Connect International was created by very large corporations that want to buy products and services from women-owned businesses.
Okay, and when did you come to the African and Arts Fashion Week?
I was here last year, and I was so impressed with the high-end fashion and the potential for our corporate members and our network to take advantage of the designs that are coming out of Africa and to learn and to create market opportunities. So I'm thrilled that I was invited back this year, and I'm looking forward to learning and networking.
And what services do you offer women with We Connect?
So it complements the work that Uche has been doing in basically working with various women entrepreneurs to develop their capacity to actually compete for bigger contracts and to understand what buyers are looking for. So Uche's brilliant, and you and the leaders here are brilliant on the design side and on the fashion side. We work more generally on all types of products and services. But there's so much that all the women in our network across 90 countries can learn from the amazing designers that are represented here today.
How do you feel being an honoree today?
It's very humbling because I know I'm in the midst of true designers, and I am not one of them. So it really is for me a wonderful learning opportunity and an honor.
And where can women find We Connect?
Thank you for that. It's a great question. On WeConnectInternational.org.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, lately I just started to think about what does that mean for us? Why do we have to follow that path? Now, what about us creating our own retail, our own presence? What about that? And I know these people, they've made the names and all of that. They are where they are and all of that. But then, what about the African retail, say for example, the African Neiman Marcus market? What about our own retail space to say, come in and then this is our own thing and everything is all beautifully done? I'm not talking about some dragging, I'm not talking about I'm talking about, people, like I said, if we're producing 5 designers every year, and then those 5 designers, we have a place. So off of the runway, and then we have a place. We have a place where off of the runway people can go and shop for those same items. What about that? So that is where we are. Trade.
But and speaking of diversity and just kind of using the plus size market as a model, because they were being ignored. And a lot of how the plus size has been able to push through is through social media. They just started doing their own businesses. Like she's talking about the quality of their magazines and stuff. Plus Model Magazine was just a website. Now it's the top magazine for everyone to follow for information in the plus size market. And anybody who's a designer is part of that magazine. The other thing about Full Figured Fashion Week that they're having in a couple weeks, that was started by Gwen Duval. It was a small business. And now it's being reported on in Forbes. You have the power to get the message out there. The power is in the numbers. And as she's saying, construct it in such a way that the numbers can be presented to the investors. Okay, and make sure that that business model looks correct and borrow the numbers. And that's what's going to move it forward. And then devise. You have all these people talking about all these different issues. They're all different platforms. Hashtag, okay. Hashtag international trade, so on and so forth, to get the support and to keep the dialogue going, so that worldwide you can move Africa forward.
Through this process, they don't understand process. Here,
Well, I mean, is it that their parents shun fashion education?
exactly, and that's why we're talking about this, and that's why we said, it's not enough. We're not doing that anymore. Fashion, people look at fashion as entertainment. Oh, Saturday fashion show.
But that's
Let's
what
go
I mean,
hang out.
traditional African parents. Traditional African parents, you must go to medical school, you must go to law school, one of those. Will they send their children to FIT or Parsons or Central St. Martin in London,
They will
or those
not.
fashion schools?
Exactly.
They will not.
Will they do it?
No, but if we
Well, see, that's
So,
the
but that is why we are here today. Because all of these years, what we've been enjoying, guess what we enjoy? We enjoy fashion shows, the runway. We go and sit down. Hey, girl, what are you doing on Saturday? There is this fashion show. Let us go. Guess what? They come, 20 of them, they come, and they go home. That designer do not make one sale.
Nope.
Do you understand? But guess what? We need to start from here. That is why we said, if there is a fashion show going, if there is no workshop, no fashion show, because the basis, the foundation of what is going to happen on Saturday is here, is right now. So on Saturday, you're looking at Deidre's collection, you're looking at her collection, you're looking at this collection and all of that, and you are understanding. You are understanding the process of what you're seeing on the runway. Guess what happens after you see the process on the runway? You go back, dip your hand in your pocket, and you want to be able to oh my God, because guess what? You have heard the foundation, the fundamental part of that collection. So it's not, so on Saturday, you're not looking at, oh, wow, this is so good, wow, and all of that, and it's just for you, it's just entertainment, it is just your 3 hours of let's go hang out. No more. It becomes what? Business for you, for her. And you'll be because you have heard this part of it, the fundamental, fundamental part of it. It makes more sense. And this is the part, guess what? This is the part we have missed for years.
Can everybody say, preach, Uche?
But I just want to add to the preach mode, just really quick. I just want to add something really quick. One thought.
Hi, I'm here with the publisher of today's Black Woman. Well, hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you, and it's a pleasure to be here. As I was telling the other hosts, that this energy is so positive, and the folks are so positive that I see seating out here in the audience. I'm just saying Uche has taken this to another level in terms of African fashion, African style, and African culture. I love what I see.
How do you think African Americans and women of Africa can work together to make the fashions worldwide?
Well, we've always in America had the lead in style. People follow us and our trends that we set. So, and you look at what's going on, our culture as far as singing, dancing, has always been a culture that folks follow along in. So if we take the lead, they will follow.
Not only are you in the fashion industry, you were in the plus size industry, you were in an industry that has a lot of stereotypes, but then we can talk about racism probably as a whole here. How has that impacted the fashion industry? And over your time, what are some things that you've seen that have changed or maybe even stayed the same?
Well, I was having a discussion earlier talking about plus size models that were African American had issues in the beginning as well, too. There was a certain look for one designer, or there's a certain look for certain stores. When I first came out, you weren't allowed to express yourself with your hair. You had to have it straight flat back in a bun, or you had to wear a ponytail. But the rest of the other models could do different styles with their hair. This was I started here in DC, actually.
Wow.
So that was about 20 some odd years ago, but that was what was going on there, and I'm finding there were some similar trends as well. as far as stereotypes in the plus market, we're still battling over what's plus size, or should we drop the word? And I think now you have such, this is America. We have a multicultural emphasis, and what might be plus size in one area might not be plus size in another. I mean, traditionally African Americans are bigger people, so that a size 8 is not really plus size, but the European markets might consider a size 8 and a size 10 basically plus, because that's what it was 20-some years ago. The catalog models that you saw, plus size started at size 10. Now you see the explosion and kind of tips back onto the technology, because I'm watching it very carefully. We have Tess Munster, who is 5'5", which is not a traditional height for models, and she's a size 22. 24. I think the other unique thing about Tess Munster, she has tattoos, which when I was modeling, that was definitely a no-no. So because she has over 700,000 IG members, she got one of the top modeling.
Instagram.
Oh, okay. What is IG?
I'm actually, she's got
what is IG?
Instagram. She got one of the top modeling contracts in the plus size industry, and you're seeing her everywhere.
Wow.
So that's why I'm saying you really gotta, and I know this, I'm not from the younger generation. I'm watching what's going on, and you really have to tune into what's going on with both generations.
Absolutely.
So tell us your name.
My name is Ola Raphael.
Okay, and you're here at African Fashion Week. You're one of the designers?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and you're concentrating on the men. Can you tell us the trends in African men's designs?
The trend now is a lot of pattern. As you can see, the model on this side wearing the African prince pattern, but with a different twist to the pants. It has a secret pocket, which if you don't pay attention, you won't see. And I have a exotic shirt also for the guys that you'll be seeing on the runway.
And what part of Africa are you from?
I am from Lagos, Nigeria.
Lagos, okay.
Lagos.
Okay. And how do you think African designs can break into the American market?
And that's what I've been doing. Thank you for that question. I've been trying to see how as African can come and introduce our designs and our fabric to the American market, and that's why I designed these pants for my friend over here to be able for everybody to wear casual or dressy and just be comfortable in your own skin.
Comfortable in your own skin. And how do you feel about the designs today?
Oh, I feel they're amazing. There's nothing like it. That's why I love it. It's you can show your individuality, and that's what he's big on being different. And you can see it when he creates it.
And I'm hearing an American accent. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Petersburg, Virginia.
Well, it's good to see African Americans are supporting the African design.
I love Nigeria, though.
And where are you from?
I'm from Washington, D.C.
And how do the clothes make you feel?
Oh, wow. They give me a whole different feel. When we get up there with these creations, we just go crazy.
How different are they from American designs?
Very different. They're bold and daring, for one thing. And they let us be ourselves.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And all these options are available to us everywhere on the internet, at international shows, at black shows, at BAM, which is coming up next week for Dance Africa. We have a lot of options. So I think you can start small by getting a dashiki, or you can get an African printed dress, and you can start there and you can build up your wardrobe and just add it. I always have something African on.
And what are you involved in? Did you just mention something about dance?
No, I mentioned that Dance Africa is coming up next week in New York. I think you live in New York, and everybody's going to be at BAM to see all of the amazing designers who are going to be showcasing so much from the diaspora, that's a great place that you can actually find as a source to get these great pieces. So you can get pants, you can get shirts, you can get dancers, you can get jewelry.
And where can our audience find information on it?
I think they can go to BAM and type in Dance Africa. And I'll also make sure to feature something on my blog since I talked about it, lovemrs.com, www.lovemrs.com.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
But no, I mean, you have a great opportunity, because he just lamented we're talking about Daymond John on Shark Tank.
Oh, yeah.
So he just was asked his biggest regret. What is the one big fish that he lost? And it was a woman who brought he had to fight the hardest for this brand, and it was a plus size brand. Mm-hmm. And he was so excited about doing it, and he knows his business. He owns part of JCPenney now and all of that. He's got the goods. So, and he knows what's good, and that was very important to him. It's just that she was not the businesswoman she presented herself to be. So I was saying that this young woman right here has a unique opportunity to help him redeem himself. When you go to him, you say, "I can help you, sir."
There you go.
I got your next $1 billion right here. Let's go.
So, Deidre, what has been one of your biggest lessons learned through your many years within the industry?
Well, so I have 3 collections under my belt. So these 3 years, I really worked hard because I wanted to be a luxury brand. So I had to keep my road very tight and focused. I wanted to get in. I need to be in Bergdorf and Neiman Marcus, and I wanted to hang next to Givenchy and Carolina Herrera and Gucci and all of those brands. I wanted to live at that price point, so I didn't live at all. And she's been there with me with no money for about 5 years, because every dime I got, I spent on fabric. Absolutely. I had to buy the most expensive fabric, more expensive than my furniture. And I really invested in what I was going to present if I got the chance. When I get the buyer's meeting, what am I going to show them? When I get the buyer's meeting, am I going to blow it with a crooked seam? So when I got the buyer's meeting, they turned the clothes inside out. Wow. And I almost died. I did die. I came back really fast, but I died. And so this is Anna Garner at Henry Bendel, which is one of the most expensive department stores in the country, which has now gone to just accessories. But when I started my first collection, they were in New York, and I got the meeting, and she turned my clothes inside out and said, "Who made these?" And I didn't want to say, because I didn't know if she was happy or sad. But I said, "I have a tailor in Spencerville, Maryland." She's like, "Really? These are beautiful clothes." And I'm jumping up and down in my head, like, you know, all this time eating ramen noodles, it really just paid off. So that was the motivation to really keep going, that it was going to happen, It wasn't instant. She made an order, but then I was young and not very educated as to how the business part of this was going to run. I got orders. I did a trade show in Las Vegas and got orders. Once you get one order from a big department store, everybody's going to follow suit. And it happened. But production, my fabrics were so expensive. I couldn't afford production yardage of double-faced cashmere. 60 yards of double-faced cashmere at $150 a yard, and 4 of my garments were made from double-faced cashmere. Everything else was 4-ply silk that was $60 a yard, and that goes back to not being able to buy fabric internationally, where I could just pay $21 because the New York fashion industry had pretty much dissipated to where we can't compete. We can't compete in the USA. And so I needed a lot of money to fill my orders. And I was a young company, and I figured, I don't have bad credit. They were like, "You don't have no credit." So, ma'am, we're not going to take the risk and finance your production right now. You can come and see us in about 3 years when you build a bit of a credit portfolio. Wow. And so I sucked that up and went about the business of doing damage control, calling the people who had trusted me and gambled on me and saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to deliver in 8 months." And they said, "Okay, we understand it happens. Come back." And I said, "I will." And so the relationships are fine. I've been working just as hard since then. But now I had to build. If you want to live at the luxury price point, you have to build this image. And the only way to do that was social media. So I had to build this presence online. I had to make my site look like Givenchy's and better. I had to make every video that I made look like Gucci's, but better. I had to make every coat that I made look like Burberry's, but better. Everything I knew, if I was going to get in, I had to be able to stand next to these people. Nobody was going to give me anything. And so I would say it is your image is everything. You really can turn it into money. You really can turn your online presence, your image into money. You do have to have the actual garment, like you said, Uche. Where you like, no, you cannot show here, because that's what they will tell you.
That
You
is
have
right.
this beautiful
She's a
online
comedian,
presence.
too.
I am. I had the silliest brothers, Ooh. And so I'm just like my brothers. But it's if you show up with something as good as what you have online, and you've done your work, and these people will get it.
Can I tell you, in 2 states, I won't name the states, and one is aggressively looking for that to do at an airport. We're doing something, and she just walked in, Linda, and we work together, and we're talking. Now she can verify that we're looking to do an Africa trade hub specifically to do that because of the very fact that you said in these 2 particular states, the majority of people are from Africa. Why not showcase that? And at an airport where people have to come through and they will invest and they will do the trading. But more importantly, because what we've seen from Africa and even what some of the government officials have seen in these states have said, this is beautiful and it's really a no-brainer. So, saying all of that, there are resources that I can, if you had a workshop for real, and I think everything I heard here, my brain, I'm like, we could really do a 3-day intensive workshop. No, we could. And for those who are serious, they're going to have to pay. Now, not high. The reason why you have to pay is to show you're serious, right? The ones that will pay, I don't care. Whatever you want, you will find a way to get. We could do a 3-day, whatever we call it, with the reality of what everything that you all just said, and even with your realness, because if you don't tell the truth of how you got to a place, people that are trying to get to the place will think they made the mistake. And most people that get to a place of greatness goes through a lot before they get there. And you talk about eviction. Holla. Okay. On the crew. Before I got to where I was, everybody looks and says, "Oh, she's so great," but you don't know the path. Before
The story to the glory.
Yeah, the story to the glory. There it is, the story to the glory intense workshop. But what I'm saying is, listen, we didn't even think. She's talking about discussion. I'm talking about business. I'm talking about getting Nigeria in different countries to a place. And we have what we need right here. And you've done it. You're doing it. You've been through, and plus, and you've got it. And I'm like, let me orchestrate it. Will y'all let me orchestrate this? And it will work. So how do we get Nigeria, the stigma, to change? Listen, if you've really been in Nigeria, you will understand that the youth, this generation, is the most powerful weapon that Nigeria could ever.
Okay, so first, tell us your name.
Dr. Cheryl Hill.
And where are you from?
Baltimore, Maryland.
And you were on the panel yesterday. What was your specialty on the panel?
I'm a special advisor for the African Fashion Week and helping Uche to build the brand and to go global with what she's doing. Not only just the fashion, but also the Institute of Fashion and building business for sustainability.
And what advice would you give to people who want to do trade in Africa?
Find safe investment environments and know who's on the ground, and not just going to anybody, but you got to know who's on the ground in order to operate.
And what advice would you give to a new designer coming into the African fashion field?
I would say study your demographics, stick and stay the process, and be excellent at what you do. Whatever you do, your excellency will get you everywhere, so stick and stay.
And how can African Americans support the African Initiative?
As we talked about on the panel, I think it's education. And then as we get education, media, and all of that, they will understand the method, just like patterns and different things like that, what that means. So education.